Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of this video is Global News Highlights. All right, so we're back uh, in this DeepSeek artificial intelligence app provided to us by China, right? It's the same thing as Chat GPT. So I asked it, what is the major news worldwide in the past 24 hours? And it quickly searched up everything that's been happening and going on in the past 24 hours. And today we got a lot of new stuff. So that's good, you know, hey, because these things point to the signs of the end. You know, this is something actually that the prophets and the men of the Lord, I've always looked for. You know, what are the signs of the coming? You know, when will be the end? Right? Even when Yahweh Shah was on the scene, the disciples was asking him, will you now at this time restore the kingdom? You know, it's like, yo, you know, they really wanted it. So the scriptures also say, blessed are the eyes that see the things you see. Let me look at that real quick. All right. Let me try to get Matthew. All right, this is Matthew chapter 13, verse 16. It says, but blessed are your eyes for they see and your ears for they hear. And that's true because this information that we have here that we're sharing regarding the scriptures and who we are and the end of the world and all that, it's a gift, right? It's a gift to know who you are truly, right? Because the Most High, Yahweh, has blinded a lot of individuals. For you to be listening to this video right now, knowing exactly who you are, an Israelite, and knowing who the devil is, Esau, even the so-called white man, and knowing what is going to happen next, like you know the future, you're truly blessed. That's why the scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy tongue. See, we're the most stable individuals in the world, right? Because we know exactly what's happening. You know, what Amos, what is it, like 39? You know, Amos 39. But I'm gonna get to this. Get to this 36. Amos 3 and 6 says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city and the Lord Yahweh have not done it? Right. And we understand that he does these things by what? His sword, right? Which is the wicked. And the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? And the wicked who is ruling is those so-called white men. All right. So when things go down, you know, we're understanding and we're stable. All right. We understand these things must come, you know. So as we say, the beginning of sorrows, you know, famines, death, pestilence, you know. So anyway, this is Matthew 13 and 16. It says, but blessed are your eyes for they see and your ears for they hear. For verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. All right, so you know we're blessed to see these different things happening. So it's a lot. Like I said, let me grab this. This is Second Ezra chapter 16, verse. Let me start at 36. It says, let me start at 35. It says, hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord Yahweh. Bahashim Yahushua, behold, the word of the Lord Yahweh receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. As when a woman with child in the 10th, as a woman with child in the 9th month, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not the womb. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Right, and that's why you're hearing things like "We are here." It has started. It has begun. Because the end is manifesting. You know, and you're going to see what I'm talking about when I get to these this deep sea. Just want to grab these precepts first. All right, this is Isaiah 13:1. It says, Isaiah, son of Amos, received this message concerning the destruction of Babylon. All right, it says, raise a signal flag on a bare hillside. Call up an army against Babylon. Wave your hand to encourage them as they march into the places of the high and mighty. I, the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, have dedicated these soldiers for this task. Yes, I have called mighty warriors to express my anger, and they will rejoice when I am exalted. Right, in these last times, the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has uh, put Russia at the forefront of destroying America, right, pursuant to Ezekiel 38. But the least of flaw, the JWOs over the land of Israel is drawing out America to the war, right? And basically, America started it, but Russia's going to finish it, and that's the saying too. People say that. Anyway, verse 3 says, I, the Lord Yahweh, have dedicated these soldiers for the task. Yes, I've called mighty warriors to express my anger, and they will rejoice when I'm exalted. And first and foremost, the Most High Yahweh set the prophets also, right, to declare the message of what's to come, right? And also he's going to send his angels, right, with Yahweh Shah to come and finish the job also. Because not only is America going to be destroyed by Russia, but many soldiers and armies are going to be destroyed by Yahweh Shah and the angels in the valley of Jehoshaphat, right, which is the Lord's judgment, because all nations had a part, in our downfall and our destruction. It says, verse 4, hear the noise on the mountains, listen as the vast armies march. It is the noise and shouting of many nations. The Lord Yahweh of heaven's armies have called this army together. They come from distant countries, from beyond the farthest horizons. They are the Lord's weapon to carry out his anger. With them he will destroy the whole land. It says, scream in terror for the day of the Lord. Scream in terror for the day of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has arrived. The time for the Almighty to destroy. Every arm is paralyzed with fear. Every heart melts, and people are terrified. Pangs of anguish grip them like those of a woman in labor. They look hopelessly at one another, their faces aflame with fear. All right, that's the point. That's the time we're coming in. So let me grab the deep seek now, right? It says so they gave me 7 points. First point, Middle East tensions escalate. All right, and that's where it's popping off at in the Middle East, right? The Levant region, right? The Valley of Jehoshaphat, right? The Lord's judgment. It says Israel Gaza conflict. Israeli airstrikes killed at least 15 Palestinians in Gaza, including women and children, while Hamas fired rockets into southern Israel. The violence followed the collapse of a ceasefire talk in Cairo. All right. So, there's no peace. There's no healing of the wound of Babylon. Okay. And, and that's why I gave that muster the host to the battle, right? Because everyone just, peace talks, and none of that is going to work. Okay. Point 2, which is, actually it's the subsection of point 1, but the second in line. Iran nuclear deal. It says reports indicate Iran has resumed 60% uranium enrichment at Fordow facility, bringing it closer to weapons grade levels as nuclear talks remain stalled. So that's big because this whole situation with Israel and Iran and the United States started because Israel drew out America to go over there and attack Iran's nuclear facility because they can't have a nuke. Right. So Trump destroyed Fordow, as he said, the greatest army in the world, destroyed Fordow, and there's no more nukes, right, and all of that. But now we're back. We're back to where we left off at. And on top of that, Iran has said, don't strike me again. Iran told Trump, do not strike me again, there's going to be a problem, because Iran and America both exchange threats. America struck Iran and Iran struck America installations. And then they was like, okay, well, Trump was like, okay, now we can have peace. And Iran said, don't do it again. And now Iran is back in the same spot that they struck, doing the same thing that America told them not to do. So it's going to get hot, all right? Because Israel said they can't have a nuke, and they pretty much they back to the levels. They back to the levels of having that thing. Point two, it says Ukraine war development. Russian advances. Moscow's forces captured several villages in eastern Ukraine amid heavy fighting. Ukraine reports extremely difficult conditions on the front lines, right? Which is the front line is ever strengthening. Russia is pushing Ukraine back and back and back to the point where they're going to take over that land. They're going to take over Ukraine. So hey, it's hot. The NATO response. Alliance members agreed to send additional air defense systems to Ukraine after recent missile strikes killed 12 civilians in Kharkiv. All right, so hey, like I said, the Lord Yahweh mustered the host to the battle. That's Isaiah 13 right there. These things popping off, heating up. We're still waiting to see what's up with Taiwan and China, or whatnot, because recently Ukraine struck some Chinese journalists. And then Taiwan is pressured by America to regulate their civilians and also most likely increase their defense spending as well. I remember Trump was arguing with Taiwan about that also. All right, so things are heating up here. It says UK election. Labour Party won a landslide victory with Keir Starmer becoming prime minister after 14 years of conservative rule. I think that's one of these people, one of those inside guys, right? Let me see. Okay, yeah, I've seen his face a lot. The deep state is definitely dealing with this dude. So he's in office now, Says UK election, Labour Party won a landslide victory with Keir Starmer becoming prime minister after 14 years of conservative rule. It says French government President Macron faces political crisis after left-wing coalition won parliamentary majority, forcing potential power sharing. Okay, so their end result is that they'll continue forever. Psalms 49:11. So they're still having their elections and whatnot, complaining about who's ruling what. Meanwhile, they're not mindful of the scourges that's happening. As the scripture says. All hell's about to break loose. Point 4 here, it says climate and disasters. I want to actually look this up. Maybe Hurricane Burley. Yeah, it's a Burley. Hurricane Burley. All right, the barrel. It's like barrel stone. Okay. So anyway, Hurricane Beryl, the Category 4 storm made landfall in the Caribbean islands, causing widespread damages in Grenada and St. Vincent. All right, so the tribes, feeling some of that wrath and tempest of the Lord Yahweh. He's visiting this place with tempest and storms. Okay, it says India floods. India floods again. More tempest and storm here. It says monsoon rain triggered deadly floods in Assam, killing at least 27 people and displacing over 100,000. Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. The Lord bringing forth His judgment every day. 100,000 people displaced. Imagine that. Point 5 says global markets. It says stocks fell sharply after strong U.S. jobs data reduced hope for interest rate cuts. It says oil prices rose amid Middle East tensions. Yeah, yeah, hey, you know, we're gonna see. We're gonna see about the Strait of Hamas and all of that. Because hey, Iran is back doing exactly what they got attacked for doing. They doing it in the same spot too, rebuilding everything. So oil prices is going up. Israel, when Israel first struck them, it was no one knew about it. They just struck them. Trump got his doomsday plane prepared. I don't know if that thing left yet or if it's still in the same area, but Israel might attack again. Without nobody knowing like that. It says China economy. New data shows manufacturing contraction for third straight month contraction, the third straight month, raising concerns about economic slowdown. Point 6, we got a health update here. So we got a new bird flu. There's WHO reports new human cases in Australia while maintaining low risk assessment. Okay, and then we got the 2019 COVID variant. There's a new one. So it accounts for 33% of cases in the U.S. Then we have, so they keep that thing going, but they really did it. The first variant really did it to y'all, and then every jump shot after that too. People always falling off because of that because their body was breaking down from that shot. All right, so it could take longer for others and shorter for other people, right? But that thing was breaking down people's body. People were going paralyzed. All type of things was happening. So we'll see. Verse 7. I'm sorry. Point 7 says AI regulation. 46 countries signed first international agreement on AI safety standards at Seoul Summit. So we know that's going to the MOTB, right? Regulating what MOSIP compliant, all of that stuff. You can look that up. MOSIP compliant. That's America trying to regulate this AI, this digital age. You got to have it under control. Like the nukes, they built nukes and they put all these different regulations on there. Like Iran can't have a nuclear weapon because it'll do too much, for them if certain things are happening. So they want to regulate AI so they can control it and control the nations ultimately, And then we have a space launch. SpaceX successfully deployed new batch of Starlink satellites amid growing concerns about space debris. So they had a concern about space debris, and then Trump. I guess most likely Elon Musk still launched some missiles up there, some new rockets. He didn't care. They was like, oh, what about the space debris? He was like, I'm gonna launch some more. So anyway, that's the times we live in. This is Luke 12 and 49. Let me put it in NLT. It says Luke 12 and 49. I have come to set the world on fire, and I wish it were already burning. And that's just the point, and that's where we're at. Things is crazy. So, Lord willing, you edify from this lesson. In the news, I say Shalom to the elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.